Greetings, Dr. Cogen Bohanec here with Arihanta Institute, and I've written the chapter on Jain virtue ethics engaging with animal rights in the Engaged Jainism volume that was edited by Dr. Christopher Jane Miller and myself. When writing this chapter, I was really looking at the intersection between Jain virtue ethics and animal rights advocacy, particularly in the context and the language and the theoretical framing of engaged Jain studies. My motivation was to bridge the gap between traditional Jain philosophical principles and these types of modern contemporary movements that we see with veganism and the modern vegan movement and the modern animal rights movement. And I was looking at how the Jain ethos of ahimsa resonates with the core values of these advocacy movements. It's also going to show that these theoretical dimensions of ethical studies are necessary so that the traditions don't just become empty and shallow, but they can really apply to everyday life with the practitioners and how as practitioners cultivate themselves through the path of Jain practice, they actually become more ethical beings, more ethical people. And I use the sort of virtue ethics model of Alasdair MacIntyre to show this, the virtue ethics of Alasdair MacIntyre, which is sometimes we see that in modern vegan movement or the modern animal rights movement, the ethics are framed in terms of utilitarianism or deontology, but I think that these are actually in tension or have a tension with Jain principles and Jain teachings, and I rather see that this MacIntyrean virtue ethics is a much better way to frame Jain ethics and the Jain principles and the ethics that come out of them. So this work really is exemplifying the engaged Jain studies because it's not really just treating Jain philosophy as some isolated historical artifact, but really it seeks to actively engage Jain principles and address an urgent contemporary issues such as animal rights and environmental ethics using Jain principles such as nonviolence, non-attachment, and the intrinsic value, the belief in the intrinsic value of all living beings, and how these beliefs can enhance and inform modern ethical debates.